Hi everyone. This is just a short introduction with regard to the process with me and my wife regarding online marriage. We got married back in March. This is going to be a raw video, so I do apologize. I'm not going to really try to edit it, so there's bound to be a few mistakes. Any additional questions you want to ask, maybe that's completely fine. If I get enough interest, I will be happy to do another one. Ideally, I would have preferred to do this process with my wife, but as you can see, I'm here alone. She's still in the Philippines, and I will be in due course going through the process of sorting out a spousal visa. But on topic, excuse me, with regard to the online marriage that we done back in March, I sorted it out with my wife, but mainly myself, back in February. Now, you do not have to actually go through these online websites like WedWeb, etc. Of course, that's personal preference. They offer packages. In my mind, they're quite expensive, but with a little bit more work on your behalf, you can do it for a lot cheaper. Now, if you want the actual wedding to be more, what I would say, better in ways, i.e., the backdrop, you can sort all that for you on your side, on her side, wedding dress, suit, flowers, food, people. Of course, you can make it more sort of intimate as it can be, I guess, it being online. Or you can make it as basic as possible, and that was pretty much what we did. Now, when I checked, I went online and I found the company. I'll just go to my phone to just get a bit more information. Okay, so firstly, you need to apply for a marriage license. Now, this can be obtained through the website of www.utahcounty.gov. But if you actually just type in on the internet, online marriage certificate Utah, the first website that pops up should come up as that www.utahcounty.gov, and then it will have DEPT for department. And the writing I have says online application Utah County. Now, if you press into it, you will see it should come up as online application. And before starting, it will give you all the information that you would read. And then further down, it would say start your application now. So you would click it. Now, just to give you a bit more of a run on what the process was, from what I recollect, is there's two parts of the process. Yourself and your girlfriend has to do this. Now, by trial and error, I done the first part of the process, and then I tried to do my wife's, but that doesn't work. So the way it works is the last person who does that last part of the process is the person who pays for it. So whereas I tried to do it and get my wife to do it secondly, she would have had to pay. Excuse me. As I said, this is a raw video. So the idea is that your wife to be would fill in the first process. Firstly, there is quite a lot of information that has to be given, i.e. Your name, your date of birth, your address. I think it's like parents' names and dates of births, passport numbers. I can't remember the list of questions, but they're all listed. Now, once you've done that part, the second part is that their actual website gives you, asks you to open your camera. So what you do is you open your camera, and what it does is it will ask you to scan your passport. Now, what you have to make sure is you take off all the stabilizers on your actual camera, and this is due to the non-blurring effect. So what they want you to do is have the camera as natural as possible, in the best light possible, no shadows or anything like that. So you'll have to get the phone and go down onto it, and it will say closer, 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 and then it might tell you to stop. Then you'll hold it for a few seconds. It will analyze the photo, and then it will ask you to turn your camera into selfie mode to take a picture of yourself. So what you need to do is you need to have a background that is plain ideally white or magnolia, something of a neutral color. And then you would hold the camera up to yourself and you would take a selfie. And then what it will do, it will analyze that photo. It can take a little bit of time. It could take 10 or 15 minutes. You'll just see it processing. And the first time I'd done this, it didn't work. So I had to go through all the process again. And as I said, the wife to be done it first. So she done all the paperwork, done the selfie. It was okay. And if I remember rightly, one of the questions in there is that you have to put an email address. So what happens is, once she's done her process, it will say, okay, let's send this to the next person, i.e. me. So it sent it through the email address, and that's how I gained the website information, because you can't actually do it. The second person can't do it on their own without sort of like a forwarding email address from the first party. So that's when I got mine. So as I said, scan a photo, scan a passport, then my selfie. Eventually the processing goes through, and it will either say yay or nay, yes or no. And it gives you a couple of chances. And I think if it doesn't work the second time, you have to start the application all again. Lucky enough, mine went through. I think it was the first or second time. And then at the end of there, it will ask you to, obviously, if you want to continue sort of thing, and pay. Now there is a couple of processes. You pay for the marriage certificate, which in itself isn't that expensive. This can be obtained by any country in the world. So if you're German, French, Polish, any nation, to be honest, you can go on the Utah Gov website and obtain a marriage certificate. Now, when they ask you to pay for the marriage certificate, there are a few costs. So one is the marriage certificate, which actually is not that expensive. Secondly, there was something like some sort of fund for something or other. I can't remember what it was, and it was a small fee. I think it was like $10. I think the marriage certificate itself was like $40 or $50, which is not that much. The most expensive part of this process was the delivery by FedEx. That was more than the actual marriage certificate cost. But in total, I think in US dollars, it cost me about $130 maybe. Don't quote me on that, I'm not exactly sure, but it wasn't that expensive. It was over £100 in UK money. So yeah, so what happens then? Then they'll obviously they will send you the marriage certificate. Like they'll send you an email showing you it. So going on to the next process is, you need someone from America who is qualified to marry you online through Zoom. So with regard to me, there is a list of officiants, which these people just do some like online thing, become registered to marry a person through Zoom. It's just like when you go to America, you can get your friend to marry you if they just go through this little process, become registered, and then they can marry you on a beach, on a mountain, an air balloon, anything like that. So we just went through a list, found who we wanted. I didn't really know them from Adam. I had no idea. Some people have their own websites. Some people just have a number or an email or a WhatsApp number. So we just contacted some random person. They were qualified. And what we done was we arranged the date when I was going over there. He was very, very flexible. He said as long as I gave him 24 to 48 hours notice, he would be able to fit me in. Obviously, you've got to allow for time zone differences as well. Sorry, this video's going on a little bit long. So eventually, when I got to the Philippines, again, quickly, you don't have to be in the same country to marry. So the spouse can be in any country in the world. The wife can be in any country in the world, and you can do it that way. That is also possible, no problem at all, as long as obviously everyone comes on at the same time as arranged. But I flew to Philippines, met my girlfriend, spent some time with her, eventually went to her family home. We arranged a Zoom meeting days in advance. Then yeah, the time, you must have 2 people to be witnesses. They can be anywhere in the world, they don't even have to be with you. Again, that can be set up. You can have, I think, up to 100 people on the Zoom. So that's what we did. We sorted it out. He came online. He literally said a few words, and because we had quite bad speaker on the phone, it was a very short, obviously not very intimate, because online weddings aren't, but I've done it for efficiency, and of ease. So in the future, I will actually get a wedding done the more traditional way, if that's civil and have all my family around, um, or if we were to get married in a church. But the idea is that's something we'll do in the future, but we've done this for quick process. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If there is any other questions you'd like to ask, feel free. I'll try to put the information about the website in the description below, but hopefully, as I said, it's www.utah.gov, and then if you type that in, that should be easy enough. But other than that, this is the first sort of video I've done, but hopefully that's okay for you. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Thank you.